So, a while ago, we got the official announcement about all of the actors that will be present in the Super Mario movie, as well as a release date. There were all kinds of different reactions to what we saw, and most of them tended to be pretty negative. The general consensus seems to be that people think that this movie is truly going to be a failure. There really isn't a whole lot of optimism towards it, as to many, the information provided is making this whole experience sound like an absolute disaster. But chances are, if you are a Mario fan or a fan of gaming at all, you know the public reaction. You know what the news is, and chances are you've probably formed an opinion of your own based on the information that we've recently received. Ever since the initial announcement of the Mario movie, people were kind of unhappy and scared just because they saw Illumination was making the movie. They don't exactly have the best track record of movies with glowing reviews. In any case though, I'm not a huge movie guy. I love watching them, but I'm far from what you'd classify as a film critic. That said though, I know my way around Nintendo, but to be specific, I know my way around Mario. Now you see, when it comes to Mario, I've been a fan for many years, even longer than I've been a Sonic fan. I've been consistently following the developments of this franchise ever since I was little. I say all that to kind of lay a little foundation, and kind of get into some background before I get into the meat of my thoughts as a whole. The first thing I want to do is address the concerns that many people seem to have regarding the movie. The first issue that I really think is worth talking about is what a Mario movie would look like. Looking at this franchise, many people are left wondering how exactly do you make a film over an hour long about characters who don't talk much in a series that is very limited in plot. That is quite honestly a valid concern, or should I say it would be if it were actually true. Sure, if you look at the 2D games and those alone, it can be very easy to jump to a conclusion saying that all Mario does is rescue Peach from Bowser with minimal communication. However, I don't think that in playing these games, you get the true essence of these characters. There is so much more to them than meets the eye, and it's really worth talking about. These characters on the surface easily appear shallow, and I've talked about this in videos before, but they really aren't. It just depends on the game or media you're looking at. Honestly, the games only showcase so much that this franchise has to offer. That is kind of all attributed to one man, Shigeru Miyamoto. The mention of Miyamoto leads me a bit to another concern that I've seen mentioned throughout the developments of this movie, and it actually lies with the fact that Miyamoto is part of a whole development process for the Mario movie. The entire argument made here with his involvement is Miyamoto can't tell a compelling story because he doesn't in his games, specifically Mario. I understand the argument made here, but once again, I want to propose a counter argument that I said in a prior video. Just because Miyamoto doesn't create many games with deeply invested narrative plots doesn't mean he can't. I think it can be so easy to trap him in a box and assume that just because he won't, he can't. I guess what I'm trying to say is, Miyamoto is a very talented individual who has created the Mario, Zelda, Donkey Kong, and Star Fox franchises. He has created worlds, characters, and much more for these franchises, and I'm expected to believe that his creative ability stops at writing a story? That just doesn't make much sense to me. Miyamoto knows these characters and these worlds more than anyone else. Why shouldn't he be able to create a narrative around them? It's easy to sell someone short based off of prior knowledge and being unaware of the unseen, but I don't think it's a fair argument to say that Miyamoto can't do something because he won't. Miyamoto is given the task of writing a movie and coming up with a story for said movie. The reason he creates games with uninvolved stories is because, as he said before, when making a game, he wants the gameplay to drive the experience. He wants the gameplay to be the most memorable part. Making a movie and making a game are both two different experiences that I'm sure Miyamoto is well aware of. A movie doesn't rely heavily on an interactive experience like a game does, so Miyamoto's only need for concern is writing a story. This is something I think he is well qualified to do because of his extensive background, but that's enough about that. I now want to move on to everyone's most favorite topic of discussion, the voice actors, the people who are going to be bringing life to the characters on screen. The overall reaction to the announcement of this cast was negative. Over time it began as confusion and frustration, but now I believe it's kind of changed into more of a joke. people treat this cast as a quick way for Nintendo and Illumination to make a quick buck. I mean, when you have that many well-known actors, people are bound to be interested. Mario is being played by Chris Pratt, Anya Taylor-Joy will be playing Peach, Luigi will be played by Charlie Day, Bowser will be voice acted by Jack Black, and of course, there are a lot of other voice actors revealed as well, like Seth Rogen playing Donkey Kong. However, one of the more strange things people notice about this movie is that Charles Martinet will be an actor in it and making cameos. This not only confused people, but also kind of enraged them as well. Seeing as though Charles Martinet will be in the movie in the first place, people saw this as some kind of tease. Why would they even put him in if he wasn't going to play Mario and Luigi? It was a little weird to say the least. The movie will be released December 21st, 2022 in North America, and globally holiday 2022. Aside from that though, that's all the solid information that we recently got. So now I want to take the time to talk a bit about some concerns I've seen regarding the movie, like the deal with the voice acting. At first glance, and even now, the cast is a little odd. I mean, they really did get a lot of popular voice actors, and that's really it, relegating Charles Martinet, the guy who played Mario and Luigi for years, as a cameo. It almost appears like he was slighted, but here is just a theory. I actually believe that Charles will still be playing Mario and Luigi, the characters he gave life to for a very long time now. Chris Pratt and Charlie Day will be voicing the brothers for a large portion of the movie. But I believe there will be certain instances where we hear the Plumber brothers talking and sounding like we normally hear them in the games. Miyamoto said that Mario will be talking a lot in this movie, almost to imply that Martinet doing his iconic Mario voice for an hour long might not be something they would have wanted. I'm not saying Martinet couldn't do it, but just that it may not be the direction they wanted to go in. I mean, we have seen Martinet voice Wario for long periods of time in WarioWare cutscenes, so he is more than capable of holding a tone. However, Mario and Wario don't really sound that similar. Mario has a lighter voice and a slightly thicker accent. One might even argue that it could be hard to follow over a long period of time, since he'll be talking a lot in the film. What I'm simply trying to say here is, there might just be a method to the madness here. And as confusing as it might be, I've honestly come to further understand it. Okay, so the last thing here I really should address is, should you be concerned? Should the current developments of the Mario movie bother you or strike fear in your heart? Personally, I think this movie will be good. Again, I'm no film critic or any critic in general, but I don't think the cast alone is enough to cause room for concern, especially if we still hear Charles Martinet voice Mario and Luigi in some form. Not to mention, they are going back and using old characters like Spike and utilizing Cranky Kong and Donkey Kong, characters who really aren't Mario characters anymore. And that kind of tells me that this story has a driven idea, and it's not going to be just rescue Peach. Sure, that might be what the movie's plot becomes, but to know that characters like Donkey Kong, Cranky Kong, and Spike are involved tells me that they have other ideas here that the games may not have explored yet. For that reason, I have to admit, I am excited to see what this movie becomes and to cover it in the future. What's going on, guys? Thank you all so much for sticking around to the end of the video. But now I want to hear from you. What are your thoughts on the Super Mario movie? What are your thoughts right now and as a whole on the current developments of this film? Personally, I think it might be wise not to throw all of our eggs into one basket. Either claiming this movie will be perfect or claiming this movie will be bad is all set for a disaster plan. I do think, however, it is good to remain somewhat optimistic. But those are just my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comment section down below. One last thing before I go here though, is I want to take the time to shout out some of my amazing channel members. Thank you all so much for your everlasting support on my channel. You guys are truly the best motivators. I couldn't have asked for anyone better than you guys to help me create the best content that I can possibly create. Every day I find myself praising the Lord because of people like you. If you are at all interested in becoming a member of my channel, there will be more information in the link in the description down below. That said though, if you want to find other ways to support me, leaving a like, comment, or subscribing definitely goes a really long way. That said though, thank you all again so much for watching. This is SONICSTA signing out. Have a super blessed day, y'all.
Why are you playing that trash?